Skull Island, a name whispered only in the most hushed and fearful of tones. It is a place that exists outside of our known world, an isolated remnant of a much older, much more savage Earth. Here, the very air is thick with the humidity of primeval jungles, and the ground trembles with the footfalls of creatures long thought extinct. Jagged, tooth-like mountains pierce the perpetually stormy skies, their peaks wreathed in a mist that conceals as much as it reveals. This is not a gentle land. It is a relentless, unforgiving ecosystem, where survival is a constant, brutal struggle for every living thing, from the smallest insect to the most colossal of beasts. The island's jungles are a labyrinth of impossible flora. Giant ferns unfurl like colossal green feathers, casting the forest floor in a deep emerald gloom. Strange luminous fungi provide an eerie, bioluminescent glow in the darkest corners, hinting at the bizarre evolutionary paths life has taken here. The sounds are a symphony of the savage, the screech of pterosaurs soaring overhead, the guttural roars of unseen predators echoing through the valleys, and the incessant buzz of insects the size of a man's hand. It is a world perpetually on edge, a theater of life and death, where every moment is a test of strength, cunning, and sheer will to endure. Danger lurks behind every colossal tree trunk and within every shadowy cave. Rivers, choked with carnivorous plants and patrolled by giant armored fish, cut through the landscape like jagged scars. The swamps are even worse, bubbling with unseen gases and home to serpentine creatures that wait patiently beneath the murky surface for any misstep. To the inhabitants of this island, both great and small, the world is a constant battlefield. There is no peace, only the brief, fleeting moments between one life or death struggle and the next. This is the natural order, a raw and unfiltered display of nature's most violent and powerful instincts. It is in this crucible of evolution that titans are forged. The island's unique isolation has allowed its fauna to grow to unbelievable proportions, creating a hierarchy ruled not by intelligence but by sheer, overwhelming power. The creatures here are living monuments to a bygone age, their forms perfected by millions of years of continuous conflict. They are the ultimate survivors in the ultimate arena. The smaller, weaker creatures have learned to live in the shadows of these giants, their lives dictated by the movements and appetites of the island's true rulers, the apex predators who reign supreme over this lost kingdom of horrors. At the very pinnacle of this brutal food chain stands Kong. He's not merely an ape, he is a force of nature, a living god to the lesser creatures of the island. Standing over 25 feet tall, his body is a masterpiece of muscle and bone, covered in a coat of thick, black fur, scarred by 1,000 battles. His eyes, however, are what truly set him apart. They hold a deep, ancient intelligence, a profound loneliness, and a capacity for both ferocious rage and surprising tenderness. Kong is the island's protector, its lonely monarch, a guardian who maintains a precarious balance in a world constantly threatening to tear itself apart. His strength is legendary, capable of tearing down ancient trees and shattering rock with his bare hands. But Kong is not the only titan to walk this land. Lurking in the darkest, most fetid corners of the island is the Vastatosaurus Rex, the Ravager Lizard King. A grotesque and horrifying evolution of its ancestor, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the V. rex is a creature born of pure predatory instinct. It is larger, more powerful, and far more vicious than the dinosaurs of our history books. Its armored hide is a patchwork of scars and reptilian plates, its massive head dominated by a jaw filled with rail-spike teeth designed to crush bone. Its small, beady eyes burn with a cold, unthinking hunger, a singular focus on killing and consuming whatever crosses its path. The two creatures represent opposing forces of nature on Skull Island. Kong embodies a form of primal order. He's a king who defends his territory, a sentient being who understands his role and his power. While capable of incredible violence, his actions are often driven by a protective instinct, a sense of responsibility for his domain. The V. rex, in stark contrast, represents pure, unadulterated chaos. It is a killing machine driven by an insatiable appetite and nothing more. It does not rule, it only destroys. It is the embodiment of the island's most savage and destructive tendencies, a relentless engine of consumption. The inhabitants of Skull Island live in constant awareness of these two colossal forces. The smaller creatures, the brontosaurs, the flightless birds, and the giant insects all understand the hierarchy. The presence of Kong offers a strange kind of security. His dominance keeps the other, more chaotic predators in check. The roar of a V-Rex, however, sends a ripple of pure terror through the jungle. It signals a time of indiscriminate slaughter, a period where no creature is safe. The inevitable collision of these two apex predators is not just a fight. It is a cataclysmic event that will shape the very destiny of the island. Their confrontation begins not with a roar, but with a scent. Kong, patrolling the edge of a deep, jungle-choked chasm, catches the scent of blood and fear in the air. His attention is drawn to a lone figure, the human woman Anne Darrow, who has been offered as a sacrifice and is now cornered by not one but two ravenous V-Rexes. For Kong, this is an intrusion, a violation of his territory, and an attack on a creature he has, for reasons of his own, chosen to protect. His response is instantaneous and absolute. With a deafening roar that shakes the very trees, he crashes through the jungle, a dark god descending to reclaim his offering. The battle that ensues is a display of primal fury unlike any other. The two V-Rexes, seeing Kong as both a rival and a potential meal, turn their attention to him. The first one lunges, its massive jaws snapping shut with the force of a hydraulic press. Kong, with astonishing agility for a creature his size, sidesteps the attack and counters with a powerful blow to the dinosaur's skull. The sound is like a boulder striking granite. He grabs the V-Rex's upper jaw, his immense strength pitted against the raw power of the reptile's neck muscles, a brutal tug-of-war between two living engines of destruction. The second V-Rex circles, looking for an opening, its tail whipping back and forth, felling smaller trees like blades of grass. It lunges for Kong's leg, its teeth sinking into his thick hide. Kong bellows in pain and rage, but his focus does not waver. He uses the first V-Rex as a shield, swinging its massive body to slam into its partner. The ground trembles under the impact of tons of colliding flesh and bone. This is not a graceful fight, it is a desperate, ugly, and utterly brutal struggle for dominance, a dance of death choreographed by millions of years of violent evolution. Kong fights with a terrifying combination of brute force and surprising cunning. He uses the environment to his advantage, tangling the dinosaurs in the thick vines that hang from the chasm walls. He is a brawler, a wrestler, using his powerful arms and surprising dexterity to grapple with his opponents. He endures bites and slashes that would kill any lesser creature, his fury fueled by the threat to the small, fragile human in his care. This is more than a territorial dispute. For Kong, it is a personal war, and he will not be denied his victory. The climax of the battle is a moment of breathtaking savagery. With one V-Rex temporarily stunned, Kong focuses his entire being on the other. He wrestles it to the ground, a titanic struggle that rips up the earth around them. The jungle floor becomes a muddy, blood-soaked arena. Ignoring the snapping jaws, Kong uses his immense strength to pry the dinosaur's mouth open, wider and wider, straining every muscle in his body. The sound of tearing sinew and cracking bone fills the air, culminating in a sickening snap as the V-Rex's jaw is broken beyond repair. He has asserted his dominance in the most definitive way possible. With the first predator dispatched, Kong turns to the second, which is now recovering and preparing to charge. But the fight is already over. Kong, filled with adrenaline and righteous fury, lets out a triumphant roar. He beats his chest in a primal display of victory, a sound that echoes for miles across the island. It is a declaration, it is a warning, it is the sound of a king reclaiming his throne. The remaining V-Rex, its brief challenge shattered, hesitates. It sees the broken body of its packmate and understands the futility of continuing the fight. The age of reptiles is over. The age of the mammal has dawned. The aftermath of the fight sends ripples throughout the entire ecosystem of Skull Island. The smaller creatures, who had hidden in terror during the cataclysmic battle, slowly emerge from their hiding places. The roar of Kong's victory is not a threat to them, but a reassurance. It signifies a return to the established order, a brutal but predictable hierarchy that they can understand and survive within. The chaotic, indiscriminate terror of the V-Rex has been quelled. The king has proven his strength, and in doing so has reinforced the stability of his kingdom, however violent it may be. For Skull Island, This battle was a defining moment. It confirmed Kong's status as the undisputed apex predator, the true and only king of this lost world. His victory was not just about survival, it was about responsibility. By defending Anne, he demonstrated a capacity for something beyond pure instinct, a protective impulse that solidified his role as the island's guardian. As Kong stands over his fallen foe, catching his breath, he's more than just a giant ape. He is a symbol of the untamable power of nature, a lonely monarch ruling a savage, yet strangely beautiful kingdom of his own.